Über sprechen zwei. Über sprechen zwei. Is that right?
No, you forgot the music this time.
Über
We try again.
Über Music sprechen zwei.
Perfect, Mazzy, perfect.
What did I
Über
just say?
Musik
Translate
sprechen.
it, please.
Yeah. Talking about music.
2.
Part 2. We are almost in a series here.
This is 2 makes a series. 3 makes a trilogy.
Okay.
And it's an equal partnership here. Michael in Germany, Mazzy in the United States. I'm in Seattle. You're in Dusseldorf. And this is I'm calling this, you can call it whatever you want, but to me, this is box set holiday extravaganza.
Well,
Is that over the top? This is
extravaganza
or box set buying guide for the box set holiday buying guide. Holiday box set buying guide. I'm worrying too much about the title already. I think you and I, because we both kind of overlap into branding, titles and names and branding is so important, correct?
Absolutely correct. For both sides, for us as the content creators and for you on the other side of the monitor too, because you know what to expect. Exactly. I hope you know what to expect.
Yeah, we're going to show about 5, 6, 7 each, and it'll be about a dozen, 10 or 12 box sets altogether that you should put on your Christmas, Hanukkah, bar mitzvah, wedding, holiday list. Whatever. Although there are a couple here that you can't get, so we're going to tease the hell out of you.
Yeah, you can get them. If you are completely out of your mind, you can get them.
Money. Most of these are from this year, but there are a handful that are from previous years that you might search out. And there's going to be some here you've seen a lot on other channels, and then probably all of them somewhere you've seen, but we'll see.
I say 2 you haven't seen.
Well, this first one that we're both going to show is one that everyone is showing now. Every friggin' person. How many times can you see the fracking Tom Petty Wildflowers box set?
Show me this side from your box, please, because I think I knew it, Mazzy.
Which one is that?
7.
9.
I know.
9. How do you say that in German? No.
7.
7.
9.
7.
No, you are 9. 9. I am
9.
7.
9.
7.
Danke. Now, a couple things. I suggest most people don't need this or that. Most people should get, if you like Tom Petty at all, you have to get the 3 LP box set, which has the full record that Tom Petty initially intended to be. It was going to be a double record. Of course, it's a lot of music, so they expanded on a 3. And it's probably one of the best audiophile records that's not really being marketed as an audiophile record. It sounds fabulous. So the main record, get that. Now, then there's a 7, which Michael has. And basically this has the main record, the extras, the plus, demo songs he did, home demos, which sound fabulous, live record, and some lo-fi demos too. There is a limited, I think it's out of print, 9 LP edition also, that's even $250 more, that came with a bag and necklace. I mean, to me, it's not worth the money.
But Mazzy, please give me a second. When you say it's one of the best, did you say it's one of the best sounding albums and it's audiophile? Did you say that already?
I said it's one of the best sounding albums that's not marketed as an audiophile.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Is that not? Have you listened to it yet?
Yeah.
Did you like the sound?
And I've listened to it one time, and they really did everything that it sounds like an audiophile release. And I agree, it sounds so audiophile, but when it comes to the details, it isn't. You know, some song, for example, he's standing on a ladder. He's like a giant. His voice is much too high. Then on another song, the voice is right, but the drums, they move within the song at least half a meter to the left. And those are things, probably it's in the recording, you
Do they
know?
bug you? Do they bother you?
Yeah, that bothers me because it's, I ask myself, why? But I think it's in the recording. And so they can't do a better release. So if you consider the, how the recording is, it's a very, very good release. It sounds good, but not for an audiophile who listens very carefully for the soundstage, the instruments, the voice. Does it sound natural? But when it comes to the demos and outtakes, this release is fantastic.
Now, are you
Fantastic.
setting yourself up for people out there watching who dump on snooty audiophiles that all they care about is the sound, where the sound is more important than the music? There is that argument.
But you started, it's a gorgeous sounding record. And what is gorgeous sounding? For me, gorgeous sounding is realism, that it sounds very realistic. And there it has his weaknesses, but not when it comes to the demo stuff. This demo stuff is outstanding. So if you're into that album, I really would go for the 7 or even the 9. I don't know what on the other 2 discs is on your release, but the demo stuff, the add-ons, they are outstanding.
Yeah,
Completely outstanding.
one of our Four Corners guests, Bob Radley, just did a video with his partner in Louisville, Kentucky, going over this record. And one thing, he has a copy, his partner, his friend, of the original. Now, when this came out in '94 on vinyl, the original was a digital cut. So even though that's still pricey and collectors want it, this is a much better sounding audiophile. It did come out as an audiophile double record in the Petty box set that came out about 2016. It was the first time it came out, and people were dying to have that as an individual release. That's one of the that was the rarest of the albums. So anyway, yeah. So there's alternate versions on here, extra alternate versions. But again, this is something that should be on your holiday list.
Of course, and especially if you're into this kind of music, or let me go one step further, because I listened to the Wildflower, and everybody, I've seen those videos, and everybody said, "Boy, it's one of the best sounding records I've ever heard. It's gorgeous, it's great," and so I had very high expectations. And for me, these high expectations weren't fulfilled. And now I come to my, if I may, to my second box for today. And then I put on this one. And this is the new U2 box set, All That You Can't Leave Behind. Super deluxe, blah, blah, blah.
That's one album?
It's one album.
You get a copy of Bono's glasses, wraparound dark glasses?
Quite some stuff here. I didn't go through the additional stuff. I've listened to the first side. And in a way, if you consider the time those releases originally came out, you can compare them in a way. And then this one suddenly sounded much better after I heard.
This is interesting, and we didn't preface this, not that we have to preface. These first few boxes we're showing, there is a whole concept of box sets that are full catalog of an artist, or a period of an artist's work, or something like what we've shown here, a box set that really covers just one record, which to a lot of people, that's overkill. Like, why do I need 7, 8, 9 records? That really kind of centers around one album. Now, what is on that U2 album? I can't even imagine. It's hard for me to imagine just the record, but
Of
that's
course, you have the record. Then you have outtakes and alternative tracks. Then you have a double album of the live of the tour from Boston, and then you have all kinds of remixes. For example, Paul van Dyk, or another album, Carnegie's Daily Mix and Superman Kicks Ativan Mix.
Is that
on and on and on?
I have that on CD. I don't have a vinyl of that record. Is that because I'm one of those people that got hot and cold with U2. I saw them on their very first club tour when their very first album came out. And I loved them, and Joshua Tree and all that. I go hot and cold. Does it have every interview that Bono did on a documentary about music? Because he's always the talking head.
It's just about this album, but when it comes to, the main record is of course the main album, and I heard the first two songs, and it just was a wall of noise.
So you don't like the sound?
This was my last chance. This was the last chance I give to a U2 album. I said, maybe this time, because I want a great sounding U2 album. No chance, no chance. They have no sense, no feeling for, I don't want to say audiophile, but for a good sounding record. It's just
dynamics.
Nothing. There is nothing. It's flat. Sorry, excuse me. It's nothing.
Yeah, terrible. I like the sound Daniel Lanois makes more than Eno. I don't know if is that a co-production? I don't remember now. If that was one of the Eno, Daniel Lanois originally. Daniel Lanois to me is an amazing producer. I like him better than, I know the only reason I'm comparing them because they're so different is because they work together on U2. They kind of co-produce, I think. And Daniel Lanois to me produced some of my later period favorite Emmylou Harris records in Wrecking Crew, and Daniel Lanois produced the great that Willie Nelson record with the movie theater on the cover of the record. And it's got a great ambient sound, and I just love his sound. I like his records too, but it's totally different than Eno. So I think, is it compressed? Is it too compressed? Is that it?
It's for me, it sounds like a digital copy of something digital pressed into vinyl. Remember, you probably remember the 75th series from Blue Note. This sometimes very disappointing releases. So that's what you get here. It's
okay. Well,
it's a shame.
Since I'm going to continue first with records that are from one album, opposed to multi collections, box sets. Unfortunately, this one you can't get unless you want to spend a shitload of money. Rhino put this out, and I was going to pass. I love this record, the original record. I was going to pass on it until I saw a Henry Rollins video showing the opening. Of course, Henry Rollins wrote the introduction for this, and he's involved a little bit in that. And of course, it's Funhouse, and it's heavy. Funhouse by the Stooges. Oh,
what a beauty!
This is a backbreaker.
Beautiful.
And so I ordered it, and of course, the day I ordered it, the next day it sold out. But it was available for about 3 or 4 months, so it wasn't like something that it didn't sell out right away. And because there are only 1,970 copies, so less than, because it came out in 1970, so it's the 50th anniversary. Of course, Iggy and the Stooges, Funhouse.
Right.
And look at the numbers there.
Beautiful.
And the albums are. And it's got demo tapes. It's basically all the takes, and it sounds really, really good. And it's heavy, so I might have to sell this just to.
After our video, we'd have to take a shower.
And it's got this. So this, for the person that we got a 45 spindle.
Okay.
And compared to some of these box sets, it wasn't super, super expensive. I'm forgetting.
You remember?
Pardon me?
You remember how much?
I'm thinking $350. Now, $350, you know, I don't want to be one of like people yelling at the camera. How can you spend $350? A lot of people, not a lot. Some people spend that on one record, rare record, or like a jazz record.
Yeah. This U2 set is $250.
Yeah. I mean, I never use slip mats because I think a turntable should use a slip mat that comes with it, unless it's because you're dealing with this setup and everything.
Yeah, it is.
And of course, there are books and pictures and all kind of ephemera, promo stuff, 45s. Okay, another, there's like 245. And the trouble with these box set videos like we're doing, if we opened every one up and showed every page, this would go on for 6 hours.
At least. We will break a new record.
It's got these great tape log of each album cover, has the tape log, like the reel.
Great.
So it's really a beautiful box. It sounds great. The music, it's just a wonderful listen. I've listened to, I think, 8 of the 12 records so far. And I put it on, and it's just like jammy, psychedelic. If you like this record, this is highly recommended. Now, I think about a dozen years ago, Rhino had put out this as a CD. It was a CD box set, so I'd never heard that. And again, it was something that I almost didn't get. Of course, here's the original record on 245 RPM.
Okay.
A lot of people now are hoping they put this out at least individually, because they haven't. So
yeah,
don't know.
Yeah, but the chances are good that they do it, don't you think?
I would think they would do that. And some collectors that pay this money get all pissy when they do something like that. But it's not like they're doing the album again cheap. They're putting the regular record out, which is an amazing record.
Oh, why not?
Why not? On double 45, I think it would be great. But if you have someone special, if you have a really wonderful girlfriend, wife, sister, lover, brother, cousin, mother, father, have them go on Discogs or eBay and buy that for you. I don't know what they're going for. I think they're going for at least twice the price now, maybe even more.
Yeah, often with this kind of stuff, the prices drop after a few months. You know,
right away,
there is the hype. You came 2 days too late. Okay, I pay the price. I want to have it. But 5, 6, 7 months later, you have also
a dip.
A dip in the price.
People panic right away because they missed it. Yeah,
especially with this record store day stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I have, when it comes to holidays or celebration days, I love this one. It's analog production. I'm sorry, Messi, 45 round per minute, 5 disc set. And those are gala performances from the Royal Ballet. And, you know,
is that Tchaikovsky?
Pardon?
Is that Tchaikovsky?
Also Tchaikovsky, but not only. You have Swan Lake, The Nutcracker, Sleeping Beauty, Sulfides, Giselle, Copella, Boutique Fantasque, Carnival. You know, even if those titles may say you not directly something, if you hear those titles, you know them, and they are so beautiful. It's so uplifting sometimes to hear this classical music in this quality. This is a beautiful box which is available.
Now I know the music. I know all that music. I just don't know that recording. Can you open it up and let us see inside?
That doesn't help because, you know, Messi.
Oh, that's right. You keep your record separate.
Yeah.
So it takes up more room.
It takes up more room. So this is the main.
Now I think Michael from Austin, soon to be in Los Angeles, sent me a link. I think that's the one he might have sent me. Is there a different version of that that's not the box?
There is a 33 round per minute. Yes.
Is that what I would probably go for? Yeah,
why not? Of course. I think that's still both versions are in print and available, and it's a gorgeous listen. Beautiful.
Okay. Well, that's a good one.
It
Put it
is.
on everyone's Christmas list. Now, here's a must buy, I think. This came out early in the year, or did it come out the end of last year? But I think early in the year. Then it was out of print. I mean, not in, it was hard to get. I think you can still get it.
No, you
And
can't.
it is Chet. And this is craft recording. Craft recording does nice issues. They're not fully necessarily audiophile, but they're very well done. This is his Riverside records. Chet Baker, a trumpet player and singer. Most of these are instrumentals. I think there's one singing, but it really beautiful tipped-on covers, great pressings. This is from 1959. Chet Baker, Lerner Low, American Standards. There's Chet Baker, New York. Just fabulous glossy covers. Look at that. Beautiful record. This is from 1958. Now, these are available individually now. I don't know how hard they are to get.
I think they will come out in January as individuals.
Oh, I think here December, well, maybe, yeah, soon anyway. They're coming out individually.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find the box set, I would grab it. It's not outrageously expensive. And again, I don't remember. Chet Baker Sings.
Right.
Chet Baker Stereo. Beautiful.
This cover is outstanding.
Now, I just want to say out there, a lot of people I've seen, and I was this too, I bought this originally as one of those 180 records. Those are basically gray market records, and they're not great. They sound fine. If you have a standard stereo, nothing special, and not to sound snooty again, they're okay because they're cheap. They're under $20 usually, $18, $15 sometimes even. But they don't sound anywhere near as good as these. That whole 180 series. There's also Wax Time Records that has all those cheap gray market reissues of all these Coltrane and jazz records, sometimes with different covers too. This also included one record of outtakes and alternatives. I have no idea if this is going to be exclusive to the box.
It seems so, yes. You have shown 4 records, haven't you?
Yeah, 4 plus this.
And there will be 4 single releases. So this one is probably exclusive to the box set.
And it's a beautiful linen cover, slip cover, nothing fancy, but really classy. Now, this is not part of the box, but just for everyone out there, if you're dipping your toes into Chet Baker, and this is not a box set, and Michael and I will talk about this. This is a Tone Poet. It's temporarily hard to get. These are not going out of print, so do not overpay. And Michael's going to talk about that in a minute here. Do not overpay on Tone Poets. This is a fabulous record. I would say this might be, if I only could take one Tone Poet record, and some people don't like Chet Baker's voice, but it's so soothing and easy. This is the one to get, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous record. It wasn't a Blue Note release. It was a Pacific Jazz, which is part of the whole group of labels now that Universal owns, and Blue Note and Capitol own. So highly recommended.
It's still my favorite Tone Poet so far.
Yeah,
still.
1956. This is a sexy record, and it's just really great. Talk about that. I mean, I know we're not really talking about Tone Poets, and it's not part of the box set, but it's one of the great reissue stories of the last 2 years.
It is. So there are few Tone Poets which are momentarily out of print, and be patient. Don't pay those high Discogs or eBay price for the Cassandra Wilson or the Chet Baker. I think is also momentarily not available. They will be back for sure. I think when they started, you told it sometimes, maybe they promised that they will be available for quite some time. Yeah. And I think they are very reliable, and they will be back. Don't pay this $80, $100 or $120. They will be back for the original price.
And part of the problem was there were about a 3 to 4 month period during the pandemic and the lockdown that the pressing plants were closed.
That doesn't help. No.
So they have to kind of, you know, I think they're starting to do the new releases first before they go back and repress things that have been out of print.
And also these new releases got delayed sometimes.
Right, right.
Still. but that's how these things go. So you have to be a little patient with them, and then they will be back. I have a record, Mazzy, that I'm quite sure in this version won't be back. And this is, oops, this beauty.
Buena Vista Social Club? What is that?
This is I got it today. I got it today.
That's not new.
No, it's at least 12 to 14 years old, I think. And it's the 8-disc, the 8-disc version.
Such a big tease here. You know, Ry Cooder produced that, and I'm a Ry Cooder fan. That needs to be in my Hanukkah stocking.
Yeah, but I think
eight records, one for each night of Hanukkah.
Yeah, Mazzy, but please consider that there is not anything additional or songs that are not on the original album. It's the original album on 8 single-sided 45 round per minute discs.
I hate that. That's obscene. That's like,
it's obscene in a way.
I don't want to listen to I don't want to listen to a record like that. As great as it is as a collector and audiophile, I want to put the friggin' record on, turn it over, and play it. That's where you and I, even though I have a bunch of 45s, you know.
I agree in a way, but but the sound of this thing is not from this world.
Yeah, great Cuban music. It won Grammys. There was a documentary by Wim Wenders.
In Düsseldorf, yes.
And yeah, exactly. And all the offshoot recordings by the artists that did solo records, not mostly on None Such and World Circuit, I think.
Yeah,
yeah, they're just great.
But you know, but this is you call it obscene, and it's not wrong to go, but to go in such a depth, in such detail. I really wanted to have it, and I wanted to listen. How good can this one be? And it's outstanding. It's gorgeous. Of course, it's really work. When you heard the record, all 8 records, and turned them on and off and on and off and packed them, you know what you have done. But you also listen to some quite beautiful music.
I'm curious because this video is going to be posted on both our channels. So, and I'm not saying that I would probably assume more of the audiophile people follow you and subscribe to your channel, although I do some. Let's see thumbs up voting. 45 RPM or 33 RPM. Just say, do you like, I get.
Okay, let's do that.
And I know you do a lot of, you have a lot of like MMJ, Music Matters Jazz, and others that you have both versions. I don't double dip between 45. I don't think I have any of the same record, aside from maybe something like the Stooges. That's a box set that includes a 45 version. Because if I listen them back to back, of course I'm going to hear the fidelity and the dynamics and the air and everything slightly different on a 45. But I don't A/B music to listen to it for enjoyment usually. So I don't know what I'm missing when I don't listen to a 45. But I'm just curious what people think if they would, if they had the chance. And let's say Music Matter, they could buy all these Blue Note records, an audiophile, and then get 33 or 45. Which would you choose? Now, let's just say the prices were almost the same, or maybe $10 more for the 45, which is what they were. They weren't overly expensive. In fact,
yeah, but if you say, what do you want, 33 or 45? Then I say 33 because I can listen through the record. Maybe ask, what do you want? The better sounding version or the less? It's minimal. It's minimal, but the minimal, not so good. What do you want? The optimum or Pareto optimal?
This is like when there's all these polls taken. It's how people ask the question, like even in election, in politics, how you ask the question. Because to me, certain albums, not all albums, you break it up on a 45, you ruin the feeling, the flow of the record, where you have to stop it. Like you listen to Abbey Road. If Abbey Road was, the end of side 1, when I Want You, She's So Heavy, just stops like that. That's how the side ends. I wouldn't want it to start after Oh Darling, and I got to flip it over again. Just me.
I don't think that they would do this in this case. I think they will stop the site on that part.
We
But
shall see.
of course, I get your point, and this is of course a point. And believe me, I'm not only sitting in my sweet spot and I'm also listening to music and just music and do my stuff and listen to
I
music.
certainly hope so, Michael.
80%, 90% of the time. But when the new Sidewinder Classic comes out, I go into it and I wanted to know. So what's today's standard? What do they get out of this? And compare it to the SRX, to the analog productions, and maybe an older whatever edition. And that's fun too. Yeah. But not for every day, of course. Not for every day.
And I won't get the classic Sidewinder because I have the SRX and they're both 33. And I just don't feel, to me, at that point, I'd rather buy some different music.
Yeah.
But I get it. You're not alone in that. Okay, my next one, there's a couple of records here that I call hybrids because they're box sets that include vinyl and compact discs for various reasons. And I don't think you really get into those much right now. I don't know if you do. Do you get any of the box sets that have? No. In 1974, this album came out and it bombed. And this is when I was working in a record store. And I love this record. And it's Gene Clark, No Other. Gene Clark was the original member of the Byrds. And this is a record that he got a little glammy, but it's glammy country rock. And it's become a huge, huge cult album. And this includes the remastered album on vinyl, SACD and Blu-ray, 5.1 surround remix, original vinyl master transfer on Blu-ray, a 2019 stereo mix, a new mix from the session tapes of 1 and 2, the making of masterpiece hardbound book, and a single version, a 7-inch, and a Blu-ray documentary of the bird who flew alone. This is Gene Clark, No Other, and this is the album. An incredible record that has, I think you'd like this record, even if you don't like this version. I have an original copy of it, but it's a fun box set, obviously with a book. This would be a great, if someone likes this would be a great holiday gift. It talks about the making of the record, the music, the cover, the album cover design, and the locations where they photographed the cover. It's got a flexi disc.
Great.
2 flexi discs.
What is on the flexi disc? The singles, or he put out, or what? It's
a version. It's a second version of these different versions of the 2 of the songs on the record.
Have you heard the flexi disc?
Well, I haven't listened to flexi disc because I've heard it on the same songs are on the on the Blu-rays. Life's Greatest Fuel, the single, which was on a 4AD version of it, which is a great design. And of course, Blu-rays. No Other sessions. You got the session work. But I'm a big Byrds fan. This has country tinges to it, but it's also got it's a very unusual record for 1970. A lot of people who were Byrds fans, guys who did these great folk albums under Dillard and Clark and the Dillards and with the Byrds, saw this picture of him, and that is not the image of Gene Clark where he looks like this glammed out. He had eye makeup, mascara on.
Little Mark Bolan, huh? He looks a little like Mark Bolan.
Think about it, 1974. The music is not like Bang a Gong or that, but there are like influences on here and some background vocals and guitars and some psychedelic thing. It's an incredible record. And this is not a box. I think this is still available. I'm not sure. Most of the times, I think it was sold directly from the site. But 4AD, the great label 4AD, put this out. So it was originally.
This box is from 4AD?
This is 4AD. And the original record came out on Asylum Records, David Geffen. And David Geffen hated the record because it only had 8 tracks, even though they're long tracks. hated the record, so didn't really put much behind promoting it. But I remember in '74, my friend Vernon and I would play this record, and we went to see him at a club scene tour not far after this. So really great, highly recommended.
You know, I really love, and I'm getting more and more into these archival things, and I think the box you just showed is quite an archival thing. You know, my God, Joni Mitchell started. I think you showed it in your last New Records video. Yeah,
I wasn't going to show it here, but yeah.
Yeah, because of the archival stuff, and this is an fantastic record.
But it's not an audiophile recording at all.
I love the sound, how that sounds.
It's recorded on a 7.5-inch, quarter-inch live concert.
It's so authentic, don't you agree?
Yeah.
It puts you right into this small little concert. I love it. And you have a white vinyl, right?
Yeah. The white vinyl came directly from the artist's website because this is the first of the first two releases. Finally, Joni Mitchell, her organization, is putting out a whole series of archival recordings like Bob Dylan's Biograph or the bootleg series or Miles Davis. This is the other one, which I have from '63 that I haven't
on the
heard.
way to me. Yeah, this one's
right.
On the way.
But this even shows, I mean, that's the tape box.
Yeah. Great one.
This DJ had these tapes for years, for decades.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview with him. He recorded it. This was recorded in Ann Arbor, Michigan in 1967. But they have this whole new logo. So they're going to do, I assume, throughout her career, I assume in chronological order, outtakes, live, a whole archive series. But I'm ordering these directly from the website, from her site.
No, I can't hear in Germany. That's sometimes really annoying.
When you order them directly, you get, not that we all need this, but you get a little like signed. Not,
you showed that.
Yeah, not official.
But not really signed. It's not really signed,
no,
isn't
it? It's printed. I think she's a little too fragile to sign all these copies, you know. But it's great. It's great.
And so that this is sometimes very, very beautiful stuff. Those box sets, the Stooges, for example, the last one you showed, that you can really get deep into it. Same of course with this U2. This is of course a great opportunity if you want to go really deep, dig really deep into this album. No doubt about it.
It's like an artifact. It's like you're going through King Tut's tomb and finding all these things around. I mean, forget just the mummy of King Tut, but there's all these things around it that talk about the time period, the history, what happened to him, what happened before, what if this was on the record, why was this left off a record? And sometimes there's, little chit chats. And what's great in the Joni Mitchell, actually, I like her little in between song banter on that. It's really a record of the time. And that was recorded literally, I think, the year before she put out her first official album. So, okay, I'm going with another hybrid here. Well, actually, no, I'm showing two things. I'm showing John Lennon, Give Me Some Truth. Celebrating his 80th birthday. This came out around October 9th, would have been his 80th birthday. Unfortunately, this year too, next month, honoring, not celebrating, and dismal 40 years since he was killed. Sean Lennon put this together, and these are remixes. This is the 4 LP vinyl version. I happen to like the cover and the packaging a lot. Some people don't. Some people don't like the remixes. Sean had them remix. He worked with, I don't know if it was Mike Shotwell at Abbey Road, but he worked with I probably got that wrong. I can't remember right now. They emphasized John's vocals are further up in the mix. The bass is heavier. Some people think the bass is bloated and way overkill, and I suspect it depends on your rig and how your system and your room is. I don't think so. It is different. I did find, let me just show you briefly. it comes with, you know, a book and celebrating it, the big giant poster I'm not going to open up. And this is 4 LPs, and really a nice package, beautiful package here. Now, this is a deep cut best of, so you know everyone gets picky on, oh, they forgot this classic song and that's classic song, and why did they put this track on Angela? But Angela is about Angela Davis, um, this black woman out of the Bay Area who was part of the civil rights movement in the 60s, and the version now, the mix, it sounds great. It's from what people consider John's worst album, Sometime in New York City. But I gotta say, this time, the CD version of the box, actually, I would pick this over vinyl, which I don't usually do. It has all the music, same, I think all the same music, but it's got this beautiful book. And the book itself goes through every track, the period of time they were recorded, the cover art.
And the box is without the book?
You get a little folder in the vinyl. You don't get the big hardcover book, only in the compact disc version.
Okay.
But I tell you, you know, I played this. I have an Oppo Transport, which is kind of a higher end Blu-ray CD drive. It sounded really good, but I have a German car. I drive a Volkswagen GTI.
I have a Korean car.
And it has a Fender stereo, so it's not audiophile, but the CDs of this in the car sounded fabulous. And you know, you have a different sound when you're in your car. You're stuck in this little box, and sometimes music can sound better in the moment than it does even at home in a weird way, or you enjoy it in a different way.
But Leslie, allow me one question, please. When it comes to this box set, and they do, although it is his son, let's put that outside. Isn't it for a Beatles fan, and now I call you not a Beatles completionist, I call you now a Beatles fan, a sacrilege to mix John Lennon's songs?
Well, I'm going to answer with a question, which people hate. Was it sacrilege for Giles Martin to remix Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper, and the White Album? Those 3 albums have been remixed now, and I assume little by little. And look at all these box sets around. Remixes are sort of a fashionable thing now. Do we need a remix? No. It's nice to have things remixed to get an alternative. You can still go buy the original versions that are out there. And some people, like when this was coming out, people expected Plastic Ono Band album to come out in a box expanded set because this year's the 50th anniversary of that album, and it hasn't come out. And it looks like it's been pushed till next year, maybe because of the pandemic. And they thought, do we need, you know, all these Beatle fans, do we need another friggin' best of? Well, first of all, on vinyl, there hasn't been a best of collection in about 10 years. 10 years is a lifetime in the music business. And there's no current best of vinyl in print. Sure, you can go buy used records of Lennon's Legend, Lennon, you know, Shaved Fish, all these best of. This is essentially, I would say it's equivalent to Pure McCartney, a box set that came out about 3 or 4 years ago, because it has some deep tracks. So don't feel greedy that it's about you. You don't need to buy it. It's for other people. Now, Sean Lennon said, you know, he wanted more bass and the vocals up because he's trying to go for a newer, younger audience.
More modern,
yeah, more modern. And so be it. These tapes are out there. You know, I actually like, I mean, and in terms of the Beatles stuff, the early Beatles people think should be remixed because that was the time when all the vocals were far left pan and the drums are right, and it's not dead center stereo. That's why people like the mono. And I like the Yellow Submarine songbook that came out on vinyl, and that's all remixes. And I actually prefer those mixes more than the Giles Martin mixes. Some people don't like them, but Nowhere Man on that, It's All Too Much. I think that's a fabulous sounding record, one of the best sounding. It's a very psychedelic album. So, And just, it was announced in the news today or yesterday that Yoko Ono, she's 87, and she just actually officially signed over, quote, the legacy business, John Lennon business, for Sean to take
He's
over.
87 already.
Yeah. So what this means is that now Sean will be the 25% vote in Apple. So you got Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr each have 25%. You got Sean now, and then you got Danny, I guess, and Olivia for the Harrison estate. And what's great about it, which I always admired, they have to get all 4 votes. If one of the 4 don't want something to be put out, it won't come out. So anyway, I don't want to get too much into the Beatles there. Okay.
So let's go a little more back in time. A little. Do you know this guy, Messi?
Of course I do.
Also.
This is his 100th anniversary, 100 years this year. I did a feature on Charlie Parker. I love Charlie Parker.
Did you tell in your feature how you can recognize a Charlie Parker record?
How I can recognize it?
How can you say, oh, it's a Charlie Parker?
I know his sound. I can recognize it. I don't know his sound. The way he blows, I don't know.
No, I've heard a really nice and striking explanation. He is the first guy in jazz where you can't dance anymore when you hear the music. You can't. Great explanation in a way.
Well, that's
before Charlie Parker.
That's bebop.
Yeah. Before Charlie Parker, jazz, you can dance. I don't like the way they dance, but you can dance. Charlie Parker, you can't dance.
Now I do have a pre-order of the 10-inch. Did you just get that?
No, they are coming. Another 10-inch. This is a different one.
Oh, because I have the new one coming next month.
Yeah, right.
I pre-ordered from Universal.
This is also from Kraft Records. You showed the Kraft Records earlier on.
Chet Baker.
Yeah, and this is Kraft Records 2, and it came out in late 2019.
I know why I didn't get that, because I think that's the same recording of the big.
You have the big one.
The Savoy box that I have, and Michael from Austin.
Michael bought it. Yeah.
I have that, so it's the same music.
Yeah, but I like that it's on the original 10-inch. So it's beautiful. It comes with a nice little booklet. So, and still you can get that one for over at Acoustic Sounds, for example. There's a good availability, and I think a 10-inch box set from Charlie Parker is a very stylish gift, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, I don't know when people are watching this, but they're in America. The Udiscover Universal Store has 30% off right now, and I think Kraft is part of the Universal group, because I ordered my Charlie Parker set through them and I got a good discount.
Great.
Yeah. I have 2 more actually. I don't know where you are here, but one I think we both have. And it's another box that I need to lift weights to pick up.
What comes now? No, Messi.
You didn't get it?
No, still not.
It is opened. I just left this on. I resisted this album. In fact, I bought the 4 LP set first, and I wasn't going to get the big box. Prince is someone who has an amazing archive. So when you listen to this, and I've heard not all of it, but most of it, it's not throwaway shit like some box sets where you just have this cut, a lot of jamming, a lot of performance. A couple of years ago when I was working, I did a portfolio tour in Minneapolis, and I took a car out to Paisley Park and did a tour. It was exactly 1 year after Prince died, and it's this like industrial modernist place, very 80s inside, but outside's all white. And there's studios in there. There's a stage where they have these all-night concerts. This is an incredible record. Miles Davis is on one or 2 tracks. I haven't gotten to that yet, but it sounds incredible. But you did order this, is that correct?
I ordered it so long ago, and over at Acoustic Sound they have you told me how it is called in English. There is a label delay.
Supposedly, which I don't know what that means, if they're repressing them. I don't know if this is limited or not, but so I'm going to be trading that to a friend, my 4-disc, because I don't need them both. But the sound was really good, really well done.
You know who mastered it?
I don't.
Bernie Grundman.
Oh, yeah, actually I did know. I had heard that. So it's got the original album, which to me, this is one of my favorite Prince albums. One of my favorite songs, The Cross, is very...
The Cross, exactly. The Cross is unbelievable.
It's psychedelic. It's like very Eastern, Eastern raga-like. This is an incredible box set. And I would say anybody who wants to get a good Christmas, and I love the new smell of printing. You get high off that printing smell. A beautiful book. I'm not going to. This is the download code, which I can't show because I haven't downloaded it yet. I know Steve Carlson likes to give away his download codes, but I actually, I mean. Now, I have a pet peeve here in the vinyl community and people out there. I hate when people are showing stuff, they go like this. Come on, people. Show us your shit. Okay, let's just stay on that picture for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay, that's there. Great.
But lyrics, notes.
Messi, do you think they go through all his albums with such a huge box?
Not quite like this. And one thing I will say, I didn't get, I originally got the Purple Rain, and the mastering that was atrocious. It was horrible. And I think they switched, and I can't remember, they went from Warner Brothers to Sony or back to Sony, and I'm all confused now where they are with
Prince was confused too for some time.
Exactly. But I don't know. There's a lot of Prince albums. There's a lot of great stuff. He would just record all the time. Like Bob Dylan, he was so prolific, and it's really amazing. And I think I just showed I did a video on some minimal records and things, and I showed the record that came out 2 years ago, Prince.
Yeah, with the
piano and singing, and it's from 1983 or 4. He recorded it, but it just came out 3 years ago. It's him in the studio recording some of his own stuff on a solo piano, very low, moody, not dancing, and it's a beautiful record.
Do you have the 1999 box set?
I do not.
I had it for 2 days, and then it was terrible. Like the U2. But I think this one is much, much better. I hope.
Yeah, I resisted a long time, and I kept reading, not just the normal, puff pieces in the newspaper or online, but people who know about sound. And again, audiophile, maybe not, but really good sound. I would say it's close to audio, as much as you get for something like this. His stuff was really well recorded. Some of his stuff was, again, compressed. Like, to me, I don't know who did.
Messi, please give one thing. When we talk a lot about Music Matters, Blue Note, Impulse, in those times, even the microphones had a tube inside. Yeah. The whole recording process was analog. The U2, the Wildflower, the Prince, the Sign of the Times, they are not analog. They recorded them digitally. Yeah. Of course, you have your analog tapes, but the recording is with transformator.
I don't know. Was Sign of the Times recorded digitally? I don't know that.
Oh, sure. It's after, it was recorded 81, 82, 83, I don't remember.
Well,
that period. Of course, digital.
Well, we talked about this before. Rudy Van Gelder, who did all that Blue Note, actually years later, he likes digital.
Of course, it's easier. It's so much easier and faster.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Do you have? I have one big one left, but do you have one?
I have a big one in its own way. Okay, it's not heavy. It's not heavy. It's only a 4-disc set. It's the Electric Recording Company, the Ravel box set. It came out, what was it? 2 weeks ago. I have it since 2.5 weeks. And you know, I'm very much into these Electric Recording Company editions for several reasons. And I think this is their best release so far. They already upgraded their system again, and oh, it's so beautiful, Messi. It's so beautiful. There are worldwide 150 copies. And you know, I see the picture. The beauty of this set, this is, you can. It's so beautiful. I can't transport it through the video.
Are you trying to tell me it's a gold medal winner?
In a way, it's a beauty. You know,
it's like, what is it, $1,000 or something?
It's 1,500 British pounds, which is around
$1,700,
$2,000. It's, of course, it's ridiculous.
Explain to people why it's that expensive. Aside from being 150 copies, what makes it good? What's the source? Tell me.
It's not the source. It's the way they produce them. They go into such deep. For example, the recreation of this box set. It's silk and the print. You know, it's a digital thing. We watch YouTube, but if you keep this in your hand, you understand it a little. And then the records, they are handmade and beautiful, just beautiful. And of course,
I don't even know that. Do you know when that was recorded? What are those tapes from?
As you ask me questions.
Well, viewers want to know. America wants to know. Europe wants to know.
Give me a second. I have
Middle East wants to know. We want to know. We want to know. Take our records back. Take our records back.
As you take your hat on and off until I have 1963. It's from 1963. This is the small booklet, and so this booklet is completely letterpress.
It's a better than Please Please Me from 1963, probably.
Same year?
It's probably a better recording than Please Please Me. From
okay, maybe, but not as the Herzu edition. So, and this is, of course, for me, it's a dream as a collector, and this is more a collector's thing than an audiophile thing. Of course, you can't explain the price through better sound, because no record can sound so much better. Do you still hear me?
Do you have ducks?
No, my father called me, and he has this sound. But don't tell my father, please.
Das ist das. I don't. Yeah. Well, that leads me, since you were talking about something that it's more of the collecting side of it. Now, to me, the ultimate Christmas gift for a Beatle fan. This is my final presentation today in the big holiday box set extravaganza. And right now, if you go to the McCartney site, I think there's some still available. They're about $600. I don't know if you can get it. I think it was only sold there, but for a while they had it cheap. I got it a good amount cheaper than that because they had a sale and a few other little situations. I got it for pretty reasonable. And it's totally overkill. It's obscene, and it's based on one record, and it is a hybrid, not just the record. And I have to get up and move my chair away because it's so fracking large.
Messi, please do me a favor. Call the archivist. She should help you.
No, I will.
Don't do it. Don't do it by yourself. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. Okay. Oh my God. Great.
I feel like Moses with the 10 Commandments. I need two of them to
You think Moses had a hat on? I don't think so. Oh my God.
Paul McCartney, Flaming Pie. This is number 2558 out of, I believe, 3,000.
Out of 3,000?
I think.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's not like Ravel. Ugh.
You know, there's only one person in the world who has shelves where this box fits in, and this is Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. Hold on. I need a whole. You know, I do have another video. I just put the link to the video, and people can see this. I just want
Messi, this is the best part. You trying to open your box set without getting hurt. Wow. What is it, a letter to you, or what is it?
Dear Mazzy, Paulie loves you. Sir Paulie loves you.
Sir Paulie loves you, yeah. Oh my.
I'm not going to take it all out, but
Yeah. That's outrageous. Is the record also this big?
so it's got the record with the guitar pick and the outtakes and the Ballad of the Skeleton that he did with the poet, writer, beat poet Allen Ginsberg. And it's got several beautiful books of photographs and artwork. Again, there's another book. I'm not going to take that out right now because again, I have another video which you can look in my Beatles playlist, Beatles related playlist.
But it's not a remastered version or different. Is it a usual version they just put inside the book?
Not remixed, I don't think. But then there's with the deluxe version, there is a smaller version of that fit with the archive series. It has these beautiful, they say glissé prints, but basically all a glissé print is a digital print on watercolor paper. Mostly photographs. They are all photographs by Linda McCartney. And they're this beautiful series of photographs. Anyway.
So this box set is, of course, for you. You love books, you love photographs, you love Paul McCartney. So this is your box set, of course. Great.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure any of you vinyl community subscribers that send me, like I got a free t-shirt a couple days ago, don't send me this for a holiday gift because I already have it. I think that's enough. You get the idea. Yeah. But this is the ultimate holiday gift for the Beatle fan who has everything.
Except the box set.
You can have this argument about, do you need this? It's crazy, it's overkill, and it is. And it is a collector's item, and you know, someday I'll get my son will have this. What the frack is he gonna do with it? Sell it, you know? It's an amazing piece of art. And the thing is, people talk about, why do you need this? We just want the music, and I get that. A lot of people just want outtakes and rare things. You can download stuff, but there is a sense, and as I've said, and again, what you just mentioned to me, Michael, I collect books and artwork, photography, and this is an archive of Paul's life, of his musical life and personal life. And obviously the smaller versions are more accessible to everybody, and you get those fairly reasonable. And
yeah, you know, this box set, also the Ravel box set, those are good showcases or good examples for the different spectrums collecting vinyl has. You have the editions, you have the years, you have the labels, you have the very small limited editions amounts. You have the audiophile ones. You have the archival ones. They are so different spectrums within collecting vinyl, and that makes vinyl so beautiful, so interesting.
Yeah, it's
And then
art.
you have
It's art pieces too. I mean, I have a book over here. There is Taschen, a famous publisher, big.
Germany,
They did these series of sumo books, and I have a book.
German.
Yeah, and the sumo books are based on like Japanese sumo wrestling, a name of Helmut Newton, and Helmut Newton, a German photographer. And it came with a. I don't have the stand anymore. It's a long story. I won't get into here because my photographer gave it to me, but she gave the stand to someone else, and the stand was designed by Philippe Stark. I have
I know
her
that.
book because it was laid on a piano near
You
a
have that
window
book?
for
Great.
years. It got water damage and sun damage. So it, but this book originally sold for $2,000, and now a good copy is $10,000 to $15,000.
Is it? Is it?
I mean,
Okay.
but this copy without the stand and the damage is
I
not.
remember when it came out, my parents talked about getting it or not getting it. And they didn't get it because it was too big and so
Well, it came with this beautiful stand, and the thing is, this is when Amazon was very new, and they had this price deal, and they weren't supposed to discount it for. They had this 1 or 2 day period. I had a bookmark because it was 2000. It was for sale for $600,
Really?
and it was like for 2 days. So I bought it.
With a stand or without?
I bought it with the stand. I bought 2 copies and gave one to one of my photographers for Christmas. That's when I was making, business was great. During the recession, we sold our house. We sold our copy for, I think Michelle and I sold our copy for about $5,000 or $6,000.
Wow.
So I made a lot on it, but we were selling things, getting rid of stuff. When I moved here, one of my photographers had the copy I gave her, and she moved into a different house, got rid of her studio. So she goes, I want to give this because you gave it to me years ago. I don't have the stand anymore. So it's standing up there. You can kind of see it right there.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot of time. You can see it in your videos.
Yeah. So people like to see the naked picture in the background.
Of course.
Helmut Newton's a little kinky in a way too.
Yes.
Do you have any
Okay.
more to close out with, or is that it?
I'm through with all the holiday gifts, which are necessary or unnecessary, whatever.
So everybody, this are suggestions. Again, as Michael and I always show the tone poets, or if you don't want to get a big box set, give tone poets away. Give the analog production acoustic sound series away.
One thing to the analog productions, there are a lot of out of print ones getting back in the last week. All the doors are now back in print. The Ella and Louis Armstrong is back in print. Very high price stuff over at Discogs is now back in print from analog production.
Are the Doors the 33 or 45s?
Guess, Messi.
33.
Of course, 45. Those are outstanding releases.
Yeah, I have their box set, the 33 box set.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We're sure that it's 33?
I thought it was. It's the one with maybe it's not analog production. It's the one with the.
Okay, then, but the analog productions, I'm quite sure it's 45.
But then it's not. It's the one with I'll have to look later.
Make me a Christmas present, Messi. Buy one of the Doors in 45, compare it to the 33, and tell me which one sounds better.
Okay.
Do that.
I'll probably get either the first 2 albums, the second album maybe.
Give them a try. They are outstanding.
Okay.
Outstanding.
All right. Well, thank you, vinyl community. Thank you, Michael. Auf Wiedersehen. This is number 2 in a series. Zwei.
You know what I do now, Messi? Ich gehe schlafen.
Okay, schlafen. I just need to have lunch. All right.
Gute Nacht. Thank you. Bye.